Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I am Uday Bharath, currently in my third year, pursuing integrated masters in plant biology and biotechnology in University of Hyderabad. I have joined you guys in this journey to explore, to know, to study, to learn biology of plus two level for CUT preparations. Even persons who are preparing for NEET also can refer these videos. It will be as the same quality even for your board exams. So first we have to understand what CUET-UG is. CUET-UG is Common University Entrance Test, which is given for all the universities, Central University Entrance Test across the India. Before the CUET-UG come in 2022, each central university used to have their own entrance exam to which they used to allow. So this made a common gateway for all the students who want to pursue in the central university. Who can give this CUET UG, the person who have completed their 12th, want to pursue careers in subjects of biology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, arts, and many more. Can give this exam. When it generally happens is it happens in the month of May, June, in session wises, and especially when you concentrate on biology, as I'm going to teach you guys bio. So it has 50 questions. From that, you have to answer 40 questions. Each question carries 5 marks and with negative markings for 200 minutes in total. What are the advantages of giving CUET UG? Means when you give CUET UG, you will be when you get admitted to some of the central university, it will have the best infrastructures in the world, and the admission fee is very low. You will have the best teachers who have many patent rights, who have published many research articles, and who have discovered many things. And the instruments which are being used here are very high class instruments, which you have not seen in other common private degree colleges. And you'll get best exposures because then weekly there will be talks from different parts of the country. Scientists will come and different parts of the world, professors and well-known researchers will come and give talks. And when you talk about the career in biology, biology is the study of living organisms. It is a field that allows you to explore the wonders of life, from the smallest cells to entire ecosystem. By pursuing a career in biology, you can contribute to advancement in medicine, environmental conservation, biotechnology, and much more. If you're curious in biological aspects, passionate about science field, and eager to know and make a difference, a career in biology can be an incredibly fulfilling and impactful future because from this decade, biology is becoming an interdisciplinary course where it includes mathematics, physics, chemistry, computer applications, statistical applications, and everything. So biology is becoming not just merely of botany and zoology. It it is mastering all the subjects. So I welcome you all again to this journey with me. We will be covering each topic, each lessons from each unit of plus two level in the basis of NCERT text. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I welcome you all again to this lecture. As we have already talked about why biology we have to study, what are the different fields and aspects of biology, how career in biology is, and what CUET UG is, and who can give CUET UG, and what are the advantages of giving CUET UG. So let's get into our first chapter and from the first unit. Unit 6, reproduction. In Unit 6, reproduction, the first chapter is reproduction in organisms. Before we get into reproduction in organism, we have to understand how complex we are, how complex organisms around us are, how big the size means reproduction. As complexity increases, process of reproduction also increases. The process of reproduction, the process of surviving, the process of biological, any biological process, it increases. It become not increases, become complexes in the best way which we can say. So as this Picture can depict you all information about how big we are compared to the atom to the adult human. This is just an average. There is different varieties for atom itself. In atom, there after atom compound elements are there, which they have not mentioned. These are average relative sizes. They are relative sizes. In human itself, we can't say everybody will be 1 meter. There is 100 centimeter. Somebody can be 165 centimeters, somebody can be 140 centimeters, somebody can be 80. Kids also vary, right? So it's just an approximate value, which will be in this range. We can see atom is around zero point 0.1 nanometer, and the bacteria is around 1 micrometer, and the frog egg is around 1 millimeter. Human egg is around 150 to 200 micrometers. And the largest one point to note here is the largest known egg or cell in to be correct format. The largest cell is an ostrich egg, which is around 100 millimeter. If you have noticed there, it's in different units: nanometer, micrometer, millimeter, and meter. So nanometer is 10 to the power minus 9, and micrometer is 10 to the power of minus 6, millimeter is 10 to the power of minus 3. So as we have known how complex we are, from if you take bacteria and if you take bacteria and adult human, the complexity in them varies. See, they are they are not eukaryotes, right? They are prokaryotes. Prokaryotes includes bacteria, and animal and plant cells are eukaryotes. What are prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Prokaryotes does not have a well-defined nucleus, whereas plant cell and animal cell has a well-defined nucleus. So as this implant, just in a single cell, the complexity you can see. So in a big human with trillions of cells, the complexity is also more. One of the complex process which we are going to study is reproduction. So let's get dive into the chapter. You can see three images here, different forms: reproduction in humans, reproduction in animals, reproduction in flowering plants. Why to reproduce is the first question will come in your mind. Before that, what do you mean by reproduce, or the process reproduction mean? That is also a question, right, for most of the persons. It might, few might know, but let us, for the person who knows also, let us try to divide and understand it clearly. Definition of reproduction. Reproduction is defined as a biological process in which organisms give rise to offspring similar to itself. Again, I repeat, reproduction is defined as a biological process in which organisms give rise to offspring similar to itself. The important words to note here are biological process. What biological process means. For example, I'm making the sentence or the word in a proper, well, meaningful way. Biological process. The process necessary for an organism to live that helps to interact with the environment. If why reproduction is a biological process, if we ask. Reproduction makes offspring, that is, produce humans, which makes them live, interact with nature. If it's not produced, how will they interact? How will the generation pass? No, right? So it's a biological process. It makes a human live. Next, what is an offspring? An offspring in simple language is a young ones, the baby produced from the progeny. Progeny is the parent. Similar. What similar means? Let let's not answer this question immediately. As we go into the chapter, we'll get to know what similar means. Is all similar? How much is similar? Do we be similar? I guess you people are getting the answer, but yeah, let's keep it in mind and let's not push it here itself in explaining. Let us see all the aspects and then decide is it similar. At last, we'll get to know at the end of the session. So now we got to know what reproduction is. Let us try to understand why to reproduce. For continuity of species, generation of a generation. Before getting into the sentence, we have to know what species are. Species are distinct group, like animals or plants, that has common characteristics and can breed or mate among themselves. We can't say that I and a dog are of same species. We don't have common characteristics. We use two legs to walk, whereas they use four legs to walk. That are not common characteristics. And human can only mate. Okay, so we are a distinct groups. Our species are sapiens, that is Homo sapiens. Genus is Homo and species is sapiens. There is, if you go into higher studies, when you join, write CUET and join for other higher studies, you'll get to know that our full Homo sapiens sapiens, that is one more sapiens is subspecies among us. It's very much interesting, no? Yeah, when I felt the same thing while I got to know about it. So getting into the point, for continuity of species, generation of generation, the species which we are, that is, uh, have come from an evolved species. We are recent studies have said that women is the latest evolved species. Okay, noted. So if there is no continuity of species, if we are not reproducing, the species will be dead and the generation won't be formed. If the apes, let us take not a broad, just a wide thought of that, we came from apes. Apes. There are many different classes which we'll study in evolution chapter. From apes, if apes stopped evolving or reproducing, we would have not come to this level. So that's the point. For the continuity of species, generation of the generation. The second point, as we correlated with the first point, is evolution to evolve. Genetic change in species should, how to say it, genetic change in species or population over time. That is called evolution. The proper definition is genetics change in a species population over time. That we have said no, apes to human. There is some genetic change which made them evolve from apes to human beings. If that was not there, who was not there. So there should be, as they were reproducing, the genetic material was getting changed, adapted to the environment which was there at that time. And next is population growth. If there is no reproduction, there is no population growth. Let's not talk about Indian population because we have exceeded the population which we estimated for this year. Or currently, our world population is around 8.2 billion, and India is around 1.45 billion, which is approximately only our country contributes 17.6% of world's population. How big it is. But there are even many countries where populations are very less. So population growth is very important. We say population, population, population. What does this population mean? Number of people or inhabitants living in a region or a country. So India, we take India as a whole, population of India, or you take India or any state in India, population of Andhra Pradesh, population of Telangana, population of Tamil Nadu, population of Karnataka, population of Bihar, like that, population. Next to inherit gene. Every point here is correlated with each other. So inherit gene, as we evolve, as we reproduce in the process, we inherit the gene. It helps, like there is this apes. They got adjusted to one cold, extreme cold condition. Now for the next generation, they has to pass that gene which has been able them to adjust to that particular environment. What if while reproducing they don't pass the gene of what they had the tolerance? Suppose whatever offspring is produced, they have come across the same extreme condition again, and they don't have the ability to withstand, they will die. The species will get extinct. So this reproduction most probably helps us to inherit gene. There are exceptions also because science is always of exceptions. So now we have got to know what is reproduction and why we reproduce. Let's get into the topic. As we get into the topic, we will be able to notice that organisms reproduce to form a new life. Yeah, right. to form a new life, we reproduce. But how long can that life survive? Is life immortal? That is, immortal means is the life has no death?
Recording in progress.
Each and every organism can live only for a certain amount of time. So there is a term for this lifespan. The period from birth to the natural death of an organism is termed as lifespan. It does not necessarily depend on their sizes. For example, crow and parrot are of similar sizes, yet crow's lifespan is for 15 years and parrot is of around 140 years. Whatever the lifespan is, the death of every individual organism is certain at a point, which also means that no individual is immortal except single-celled organisms. You have to know why single-celled organisms are immortal because the parental body is distributed among its offsprings. For example, budding in yeast. There is a body. From that body, another body comes out. Another one or two body comes out. And those bodies are termed as offspring. So they does not want to, there is no matter of death in them until there is given an extreme condition. For example, a single-celled organism.
Recording in progress.
So if you take a single-celled organisms until you there is an extreme condition, for example, and single-celled organism, if it's living in an extreme condition, like it can only live in extreme cold condition. If that organism, if you come and keep in very hot springs kind of things, it will die until extreme condition. There is no natural death for single-celled organisms. And here you can see budding in yeast. We have always seen the cartoonist picture. No, here are some pictures which are microscopic. The 5 micrometer is the length. What is the scale? Microscopic scale. Here are some approximate lifespan of some organisms. We have to know what lifespans are of different organisms, right? Which is given in your textbook. This table will be really helpful. So keep a note of it. There might be some questions from this table. I will once read out the organism name and the lifespan of it. Elephant, it's around 75 years. Rose is around 10 years. Dog is around 25 years. Butterfly is around 1 to 2 weeks. Cow is around 26 years. Banana tree is around 2 to 3 years. Banyan tree is around 300 to 500 years. Monkey is around 25 to 30 years. Crocodile lives for around 60 years. Horse around 50 years. Flute fly fruit fly around 1 month, rice plant around 4 months, tortoise 100 to 150 years. You can see some of the pictures of the organisms listed in the table here. One point we have to note here is that whatever the lifespan it gives, it's always an approximate. Dog. In dogs, they are different breed. Why I chose dog is we'll get easily to understand it because we see in our daily life many dogs. Dog breeds itself live for different years. This is an average dog of all they have given 25 years. For example, Chihuahua, you guys would have been very familiar with it. It lives around 17 years. Rottweiler dogs lives around 8 to 12 years. German Shepherd lives around 9 to 13 years. And which we mostly not talk about are Indian native dogs. Some of them are Rajagopalan dogs, Kombai dogs, which live around 15 to 16 years. So, in a classified group itself, there are many sub-classified groups. Life is so complex, right? And one more take takeaway important point is that in June 2023, Botanical Survey of India has recognized the oldest banyan tree, Sidhwari, which dates around 500 years ago in UP. It is as sacred grove still in UP. It is the oldest banyan tree which is in UP. Its name is Siddhbari, Sidhwari tree. So now we have understood what lifespan is, what reproduction is, why we have to reproduce, what are the points in reproduction, different single cell organisms, why are they immortal, and some of the tabular columns. Let's get into more. Based on whether there is participation of one or more organisms, the process of reproduction is classified into two main categories. That is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is a reproductive process by which two opposite sexes, that is male and female, participate to produce an offspring, that is a young one, by fusion of male and female gametes. The male gamete here is sperm and female gamete here is egg in case of humans. Whereas asexual reproduction, a reproductive process by which a single parent produces an offspring with or without gamete formation. A single parent, not two parents, produce an offspring with or without gamete formation. So let's understand detailedly about sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, the further classes. So first we will deal with asexual reproduction.
Recording in progress.
So first let's understand what asexual reproduction is. As we have already given the definition for asexual reproduction, single parent is capable of producing offspring. The produced offsprings, that are the produced babies or the young ones, are identical to one another. And also, they're exactly the same as their parent. One of the important terms we have to understand in asexual reproduction is the term clone. As you can see in this picture, there is a man pitching in the mirror. It's like the same, right? So what clone means? One of the important questions will come in, yeah, competitive exams. As clone is used to describe individual with similar genetic and morphological features. You guys would have been familiar with the term phenotypic and uh, genotypic similarities features, right? The same. They have to be similar exactly genetic, that is in DNA sequence wise, and the morphological, that is appearance wise. Then the organism or that individual can be called as a clone. Asexual reproduction is common in single-celled organisms, very much common in single-celled organisms and in plants and animals that are relatively simpler in organization, very simpler in which has lesser cell, which are prokaryotes, which are has lesser cells, even though they are multicellular, which has lesser cell and does not have much complex processes. Prostates and monerans. In prostates and monerans, cell divides by mitosis. Just make a note of mitosis because in the textbook of NCERT, they have not mentioned mitosis, but they have just mentioned cell divides into two. The process here involved is mitosis. Mitosis is an equational division where the chromosome number is exactly the same in the parent and the divided daughter cells. Here in prostates and monerans, cell divides by mitosis into two to give rise to a new individual. So here cell division is itself a mode of reproduction. Cell division, then asexual reproduction. Here, there is a cell division in unicellular organism that is budding in yeast. You can see the first parent cell, and there comes a small bud, and that bud grows, and the bud eventually detaches from the parent body and develops into a bigger one, which will be identically similar to the parent. And one more example is binary fission in amoeba. You can see an amoeba parent cell, which has nucleus. Slowly it withdraws the pseudopodias that are like fan-like structures, and slowly they start dividing, and slowly the nucleus gets replicated, and slowly they divide. There is a section formed in the between at equal division happens, and two daughter cells are formed. As you can see here, and the previous example also, that there is no involvement of another parent, or the parent is not dying. The parent is becoming into two individuals. So binary fission seen in amoeba and paramecium. We will see a short video here which will make you guys understand the binary fission of amoeba. Binary fission is a type of asexual reproduction in which the fully grown parent cell splits into two halves, producing two new daughter cells. Here you can see the amoeba and the pseudopodia. Slowly it's withdrawn, and slowly the nucleus is dividing, and there is a section in the middle which is formed, just getting as the cell is slowly dividing into two daughter cells. And now the cells are formed. Again, the same process happens back, and more individuals are produced. And when we talk about amoebas 2S, amoebas 2S, the important process which is most important in competitive exams or board exams are amoebas 2S, ES. First one is under unfavorable conditions, the amoeba withdraws its pseudopodias and secretes a three-layered hard covering or cyst around itself. As you can see, this is the amoeba in the normal conditions. Under unfavorable condition, when it could not survive in the environment, it withdraws the pseudopodia. Whatever I'm pointing here, it withdraws its pseudopodia and uh, forms and secretes a three-layered hard covering, which is called cyst around itself. When favorable conditions return, the encysted amoeba divides by multiple fission. Multiple fission. By fission process, the amoeba divides. Binary fission, as we have said, multiple times it gets. Binary means two, one. One into two, it's becoming. Here, that one, it becomes two, that two becomes four, four becomes 16, like that. Okay? Produce many minute amoeba in this cell itself. Still, the wall is the same, produces. Or pseudo, it's also called as minute amoeba or pseudopodiospores. As a result, if there is multiple fission occurring, even see if you are put in the room, one person in a big room, it's fine. If 100 people are put in that same room, it's difficult. At one point, you have to break the wall or the door or window and go. The same happens here. It breaks the cyst wall. As a result, the minute spores are liberated into the surrounding to grow into the mature amoeba. And the first term, that is under unfavorable condition, the amoeba withdraws its pseudopodia and secretes three-layered hard covering or cyst around itself is called encystation. And the former, the next one is when favorable condition returns, the encysted amoeba divides by multiple fission and produce many minute amoeba or pseudopodia spores. As a result, the cyst wall breaks or bursts out, and the pores or spores that are liberated into the surrounding grow into many amoeba. It's called sporulation. This picture would give a brief about what this encystation and sporulation process are, which is not there in the textbook. You can look into it. So moving on next, other sexual reproductive structures. In yeast, buds are reduced that remain attached to the parent body initially and eventually get separated and mature into new yeast cells. Members of fungi and other simple plants, such as algae, use special structures called zoospores. These zoospores are motile. To be noted, these zoospores help in reproduction. Conidia in penicillium buds in yeast, and hydra, gemmules in sponge. And here you can see a pictorial representation of whatever I've said. Gemmules in sponge, gonadium penicillium, buds in hydra, budding in yeast, zoospores of chlamydomonas, binary fission, and dealt with the asexual reproduction in plants. We'll deal in the next lecture. Before that, let's test whatever we have understood. First question is lifespan refers to option A, the period from menarche to the menopause of an organism. Menarche is the first time when a female
Recording in progress.
so now we have understood most part of our sexual reproduction in unicellular organisms. Let us now test whatever we have learned. First question is lifespan refers to option A, the period from menarche to the menopause of an organism. Menarche means, for those who do not know, the first time when a female menstruates is called, that period is called menarche. And menopause is the last around 35 years, the last period, menstruation cycle. It's called the menopause of an organism. Option B, the period from egg formation up to the fertilization of egg refers to lifespan. Is it so? Option C, the period from birth to the death of an organism. Is it? Maybe. Option D, the period from fertilization of egg up to the birth of an organism. Just take a minute and try to answer which is the correct one. The answers will be displayed. And you can pause and go through your notes or whatever pressure in your mind, whatever you are studying, and answer the question. Moving on to the next. Statement 1. No organisms are immortal, including single-celled organisms. Statement 2. Lifespans of organisms depend mainly on their size. Choose the statement that are correct scientific information. Option A, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. Option B, statement 1 is incorrect, and statement 2 is correct. Option C, both statements are correct. Option D, both statements are incorrect. Again, I will read the statement. Statement 1, no organisms are immortal. That is, no organisms have death, including single-celled organisms. That is, they are saying that the first sentence means that organisms have death, which includes even single-celled organisms. Statement 2, lifespans of an organism mainly depend on their size, which says that all lifespan, if size is small, the lifespan is small. If the size is big, the lifespan is big. Is it so? I'm not sure of both the statements. It might be correct, it might not be correct. It's your turn to guess. So let's move on to the next question. There is no natural death in single-celled organisms because option A, the parental body is distributed among its offspring. Option B, the parental body is made up of a special layer which makes them resistible from natural deaths. Option C, they do not have a disease. Option D, reasons are unknown. The next question is identify the organism with their asexual structure. Here is a pictorial representation of four organisms. You have to identify what that organisms are and what their asexual structures are. Take a minute. I guessed it. I hope even you guys guessed it. If not, pause, take a pause and guess it. So let's move on to the next question. Binary fission is seen in the following animals or organisms, except which says that binary fission is seen except in this organism? Option A, amoeba. Option B, paramecium. Option C, yeast. Option D, euglena. I hope it's done. There are even more questions which we'll solve at the end of this chapter. And here are the answers. For the first, it's B. For the second, it's D. For the third, it's A. For the fourth, A is zoospores in Chlamydomonas, Conidia and Penicillium, buds in yeast, Camels in sponge. And for the fifth one, it's C. I hope this lecture helped you all. Hope to see you in the next lecture. Thank you. And if there is any query, you can contact to the mentioned email. Thank you.